What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. I'm late. I know I'm a little bit late with this one, about 3 hours old at this point. If you follow the Seahawks in any particularly close capacity, you've probably already heard about this, but better late than never in most cases, including this one. And I got to talk about this because this is pretty big. The Seattle Seahawks have given general manager, president of football operations, John Schneider, a contract extension, a 4-year contract extension that will keep him in Seattle through the 2030 NFL draft, in theory. So that's a pretty significant commitment. I actually had forgotten that his contract was going to expire relatively quickly here. So he would have been kind of sort of a lame duck if you hadn't done this. And keeping a lame duck coach or lame duck GM is not typically something that organizations do. So I can understand on that level why you'd want to do something here. But this is definitely something that I feel a variety of emotions on. I definitely feel a variety of emotions on this one. Got to talk about it a little bit. Got to feel this one out. Got to try to figure out exactly how to feel about this. John Schneider, his record as general manager of the Seahawks over the last several years compared to other general managers out there has been quite good, right? In terms of consistently winning games, in terms of producing viable results, sure. But he has not been able to get this team back over the top. That remains the area that he has struggled to do ever since this team lost the Legion of Boom, really ever since Super Bowl 49, if you want to be technical about it. This team has not been able to put together a deep playoff run. This team has not been to the NFC title game in over a decade now, one of the longest streaks of any NFC team. It's now with Washington having made it last year, it is officially one of the longest. I know Dallas is obviously longer, but hey, Detroit made it there a couple years ago, so their streak of not making the NFC title game came to an end. Seattle is now one of the longest, so that speaks to their inability to build that true contender. So you got to balance those two things. On the one hand, we haven't had that really bad season yet. 2021 was the closest thing we had to a really bad season. And other than that, this team puts together a winning record basically every year. And there is something to be said for that. That's not easy in this league. I'm not trying to completely diminish that. But it doesn't mean a lot if you can't have that big breakthrough year. And they've had some good regular seasons, right? 12 wins in 2020 was obviously good. They had an 11-win season the year before that. But realistically, this kind of surprises me. Not in the sense that he was going to be a lame duck if he didn't do this, but this does kind of surprise me that you would do this right now when he is only slightly more than a year removed from getting out from under the thumb of Pete Carroll. And since Pete Carroll left, and again, we can debate for days, weeks, months, how much control Pete Carroll had and how much he exercised when he was in Seattle and how much John Schneider had to defer to him. We'll never know the answer. Some people feel like they do know the answer, but we never actually will. We've seen John Schneider have a draft that right now looks fairly average, although it's way too early to really evaluate it. Like, we don't know what's up with that draft. We saw him have a great coaching hire. We definitely hit the jackpot there, it seems like. Although he did kind of undermine it a little bit with the Ryan Grubb thing. There were some extenuating circumstances there, so I can't completely hate on Schneider for that, I guess, because we had to hire so late. He had a completely disastrous free agency signing period last year. And then all the stuff that happened this most recent offseason, we have no idea. We don't know about Kubiak. We don't know about our draft. We don't know about free agency. We don't know about the trades because we haven't been able to see the fruits of that labor yet. Therefore, it's not a huge sample size. And some people can theorize that Schneider kind of took control in 2022 after the 7-win season that we had. Maybe Carroll lost some power then. I've thought that was probably the case. If you do that, then you've got the 2022 draft, which, hey, great. You've got the 2023 draft, which also was really good. So if you're bringing that data in, then, okay, you've got a little bit more stuff to work with here. I don't know. This is something that I'm definitely mixed on. I understand that Schneider has done a good job in some areas. In others, I don't know. And personally, I think that big picture, I would have preferred to wait and see how some of the decisions that he just made pan out. Because some of these decisions can certainly go one way or the other. The decision to change out franchise quarterbacks, the decision to trade DK Metcalf. I wanted to see how these things panned out, because if we end up looking like the suckers in a couple of months here, well, okay, a couple of months would be too early, but let's say, 4 or 5 months, I kind of would prefer to keep my options open. This really kind of closes off your options to move off of John Schneider. You're not gonna let a guy go. You're not gonna fire a guy right after giving him a 4-year extension that I assume is worth tens of millions of dollars. If I had to guess, I would say that Schneider is one of the more well-paid GMs in the league. And given the fact that we just had a tumultuous offseason, where, again, you move off your quarterback, you move off a wide receiver that was on track to break every franchise record, I wanted to see how those things panned out. I wanted to make sure that those decisions were at the very least defensible. I would rather not go into the next almost half decade with a GM who masterminded those decisions with the knowledge that those decisions were so bad, because there were a variety of things that maybe influenced his decision to do those moves. And I want to make sure they were at least defensible. I don't want to go into this extended period of time with John Schneider still as the GM with those two relatively controversial decisions. I know that, there's certainly a lot of people that like those moves, but there are a lot of people who don't. I would have liked to have felt that out a little bit more. I will say that the drafts recently have been seemingly good. I don't want to commit to anything too hard there, because we're talking about the 2024 draft. They've only had 1 year. 2025 draft, they haven't had any time at all. We don't know, but 2023, really good. 2022 draft, great. Although I would say that we got to get some of those guys extended, or else that 2022 draft is going to lose a lot of its value. But there's time for that. We got plenty of time for that, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little all over the place on this one, I know, but this one's complicated. This is not a slam dunk. We haven't been an elite team in quite a while. We have been in the middle, mostly. Slightly above the middle, I would say, for a while now. And that's not terrible, but I don't think any Seahawks fan is particularly thrilled about being a one and done or none and done team every year. And it feels like we've been stuck in that for a while now. Our last playoff win was before COVID. Our last NFC Championship game was, again, the Green Bay game over a decade ago now. So, I get it. You don't want a lame duck GM. That's something the Dallas Cowboys do. That is something that you very rarely see outside of Dallas, having a lame duck GM or coach. At the same time, I got to be honest, I would have liked to have felt things out for a little bit longer, at least let the season start. Like, I remember back in 2020, we didn't extend John, and we extended John and Pete, but we did it in the middle of the season. We did it after the season got off to a strong start. Would have preferred maybe something similar here. I understand that from Jody Allen's perspective, because obviously this was mostly a Jody Allen and probably Burt Cole decision. They're probably pretty happy with the way John operates. I don't know. This is a pivotal season to me. This is a pivotal season for Schneider. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit of the results first. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, though. I know this is going to provoke a variety of emotions because Schneider's controversial. I just wanted to keep my options open with him right now. Again, I said it back when the offseason first started. I didn't want to move off of John Schneider. I wanted to keep John Schneider, but I could understand why some people would feel otherwise. I thought it was a defensible position. And he's had an offseason that I mostly haven't liked that much. Although, again, I stand by what I said. I don't want to fire him. I want to let him... I want to let him prove that he did the right thing. But we're not going to learn about that for several months now. So, I get it. But then again, I don't. I'm mixed today. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think down below. Streaming more Peace Walker tonight. Tune in on stream. We had great attendance yesterday. A lot of people showed up. Had a lot of fun. And hope to see you guys then. Like the video on your way out, by the way. Thank you. See you guys later. Go Hawks.